All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for attending today's training workshop. I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. We've got about 70 plus people on this call, so I am super excited. Hopefully, can give you guys a lot of great value here on how to get your website optimized for maximum conversions and lead flow. This is really part of our overall 2023 Internet Marketing Plan. Last month, we kind of started that with how to really get your marketing plan in place, how to set goals. So really what we're doing is looking at the big picture of your internet marketing strategy, from your website to your SEO to pay-per-click, social media, Google local service ads, which are really catching on, retargeting, and then really everything in between. So what we're going to do throughout the course of this year is just to drill down into specific aspects of that overall plan. All of this really fits into the overall ecosystem of what we call our digital dominance method. All of these individual marketing channels, as well as various tactics and strategies, they form the foundation of your internet marketing strategy, just to make sure you have a great website that's built to convert and that's ranking in the non-paid listings. This way you can get as much organic, low-cost traffic to your website as possible without having to go deep into your budget buying ads. So what we're going to talk about today is really how to maximize conversions on your website and have it performing at its full potential. So there's some housekeeping before we get started. If you don't mind, let's just turn off our cell phones, close Facebook. If you're really serious about doubling or tripling the amount of leads you can get for your remodeling or home improvement company, let's give this next 60 minutes or so our undivided attention and complete focus. First off, I want to make sure that you guys download the workbook. So go to this link here, homeremodellerseo.com/conversion-workbook. You can download this, print it out, make some notes, but at least it will give you a guide to follow along with, and then also to have some notes that you can look back on, because the idea here is to implement what you take away from this workshop. This is not just, let's watch this, sounds like some good ideas, and then get back to work and get all busy. I really want you guys to think about what you can implement from this workshop. So hopefully everyone has that link, has already clicked on it. So real quick, who am I? I'm a self-admitted computer geek that learned how to write website code back in the mid-late 80s. And so everything with digital marketing really comes pretty natural for me. I'm also a former home remodeler and custom home developer, a couple of projects that I built here in the area. I've been involved in building million-dollar projects like these homes featured here, as well as being active in the fix and flip market too. Really it's something I've been passionate about for quite a long time. I'm an industry partner with NARI, the National Association of the Remodeling Industry, as well as the National Association of Home Builders, the NAHB, in addition to the National Kitchen and Bath Association, the NKBA. I'm also the author of Internet Marketing for Contractors and Builders, How to Triple Your Sales by Getting Your Internet Marketing Right. If you haven't read the book, I highly recommend you check it out. It's on Amazon. It kind of unpacks your overall digital marketing strategy. So, if you don't have a copy yet, you'd like to get a copy or get a digital download of the copy, just put a comment in chat, or you can ping me through email, whatever. I'll reach out to you and make sure I get you a copy of the book free of charge. I really just want you to have as much knowledge as possible when it comes to marketing your company online. The knowledge I give is really knowledge you can implement in your company now. I'm widely accepted as one of the top experts in internet marketing for remodelers, builders, and home improvement companies. More importantly, though, is that I've had the chance to work with countless remodeling and home improvement companies across the country, and we've been able to take them from virtually no placement online to the point where they're the dominant player in their respective markets now. So what I share with you about internet marketing, about SEO, about your website isn't based on theory. It's based on my experience working with companies just like yours in the remodeling, new construction, and home improvement service trades. At this point, we've worked with enough companies that we have access to the analytics, the data. So we really know down to the click how things will convert, what has a bigger impact, what works best for conversion rates. And so that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today over the course of this training session. So let's go ahead and dive in. I always like to start with the problem that remodeling and home improvement companies are facing. There's no sense sitting in on a session about websites and website optimization if there's not a problem to be solved. And the issue is I see it for you guys in this space as a whole, making a big investment in marketing, unlike some industries. You guys spend a lot of money in internet marketing because the ROI, the return on investment, is usually there when you're doing it right. I guess, I should put that caveat in there, but you do SEO, you do pay-per-click, you've tried the big box marketing companies, and then little companies or the guy across the street or maybe the guy that sits in on your B&I meeting, trying to be a marketing expert for every industry out there. As you know, that in order to keep the phones ringing, to keep your crews busy and happy, to keep business really going strong, you have to make an investment. And you guys are not shy about making that investment in your internet marketing strategy when it makes sense. But oftentimes you get traffic, you're spending all this money, you're investing in SEO, pay-per-click, maybe doing some organic social media stuff on your own. You get a bunch of traffic, but not enough from true qualified leads, right? It's not really converting into phone calls, into booked jobs. So essentially, not enough phone calls are coming in, and in a lot of cases, there's really a low return on investment with what you're doing. Now, you spend $1,000 in pay-per-click, and you get $1,000 worth of revenue. Let's just say 1-to-1 ratio. But that's not enough to really cover your expenses, to really make money, to earn a profit, and be profitable to grow your company. And that's what I really think is the biggest problem is you end up with an empty schedule, downtime for your employees or downtime for the subcontractors that you work with. One of the biggest challenges in this world right now is getting good qualified craftsmen, right? Anyone, give me a 1 in the chat if you're having trouble trying to hire, or you tried to hire in the past and you just can't find good people. I want to hear from you guys in the comments if you agree, because it really is one of the biggest struggles is getting good qualified people. And we hear this from coast to coast, company to company, just trying to find people that actually want to work nowadays. So if it's not finding people to in your company, it's not finding enough customers to get your phone ringing. It's not necessarily generating leads. It's really about how can you grow your company if you can't find quality tradesmen, keep them trained, keep them busy throughout the day, and keep them from looking for work elsewhere. So I see some comments, some 1s over in chat. I appreciate you guys engaging with me. I'm going to be asking you guys some questions. So hopefully you guys are here to participate and engage with me. Also at the end of this, for those that stick around, I'm going to do some live SEO analysis for anyone brave enough. So really want you guys to engage here so that we can get the most out of this workshop. So if you're spending a bunch of money in marketing and you're not generating enough leads, the biggest challenge is the opportunity cost of the craftsmen that you hire, your employees that you recruit, that you train, and not having enough jobs to really cover their expenses and or keep them busy enough to make the kind of money that they need, and then losing those quality employees to another bigger competitor of yours. So if you can't solve for this, you're going to have big problems, right? If you can't convert the visitors that come to your website at the highest level possible, then you're not going to be generating enough leads so that you can grow. So here's the opportunity, right? Can you make sure that you've got a great website, not just a pretty website, because we all want to be impressive and we all want to look good, right? But we really want to have a great website that's built to convert, that takes these people that get to the site and converts them into callers. Really what we want to do is be able to consistently convert our traffic from whatever source, SEO, pay-per-click, social media. Everyone's coming to your website, no matter where they find you. They're going to come to your website, check you out, see what you got going on. Even if it's, seeing one of your branded wrapped trucks out in the neighborhood, you want to be able to convert those visitors into callers, into actual leads at the highest level possible. So when we do that, we can have a full schedule with all your crew staying busy, consistent growth and momentum in your businesses. And that's what I really think the opportunity is to get the phones ringing, get the trucks running, and make sure your businesses are thriving and really growing. So here's the deal. At the website, your company website, it's the hub of everything you do, all right? There's no doubt about that people are always going to be coming to your website to check you out and learn more about you. So whether you realize it or not, your customer, before they call you for your services, before they do business with you, for the most part, they're taking out their phone or getting on their desktop and they're typing in something like home remodeling company in my city or design build company in my area. And they're winding up at your website, either on their desktop, probably on their mobile phone. And whether that was because they saw your pay-per-click ad or potentially heard one of your radio ads, or they saw one of your trucks, drive by, they're gonna end up on the website. And if your website isn't compelling and it doesn't convert at the highest rate possible, it brings down the effectiveness of all the other advertising that you do as a company. So that's why I always start here as it relates to your internet marketing strategy, because it's the hub. Everything flows through your website. We have to make sure that it's as dialed in as possible. And to make sure it's that bucket that's converting and not actually leaking visitors and leaking traffic from all over the place, we want to make sure that it actually works for you. So I just want to draw an illustration here of why conversion is so important. So here's a little scenario I drew up. Let's just say your remodeling or home builder website gets 500 visitors per month. And so let's just say your average conversion rate is between 5 and 10%. Not great. This is a very conservative number, but let's just say you're averaging 5% of the visitors that get to your website end up calling in. That would mean for that 500 visitors at a 5% conversion rate, that means you're generating about 25 leads, right? And let's say your conversion rate from phone call to booked job is 30%. Ideally, we'd like to see a higher rate than that as well, but I want to use conservative numbers to drive home this point. That would mean for these 500 visitors, you generated 8 booked jobs. Now, let's say your average ticket is a low $20,000. I know a lot of you folks on here, I definitely see some folks that I know you have a higher ticket value, especially if you're doing high-end remodeling or even, full custom homes, which could drive your average transaction value to, well into the 6 figures. But even if it's just conservatively, just for the sake of this example, let's say it's $20,000 average transaction value. That would mean that you're generating $240,000 in booked revenue from that 500 visitors that came to your website. Now, if we could just make a couple tweaks and a couple improvements to your website, really get it to convert at a higher level without spending any additional dollars on advertising, we can now take that same traffic, that same flow of visitors that are getting to our website, and let's say we bump it to a 15% conversion rate. And of course, we have clients converting at 25, 30, 35%. So when you dial this in, you can have a much better conversion rate. Let's just say you improve from 5% to 15%. Not a massive improvement, not really shooting for the moon here to start off with. That means with the same amount of traffic, 500 visitors, you now generate 75 calls. Who would like 75 calls versus 25, right? Same amount of visitors, but now you're converting at a higher level, and you keep that same 30% conversion rate. That means now you have 23 booked jobs instead of 8 booked jobs. Same average transaction value. Instead of generating $240,000 in income, now you're generating $690,000 in income. So you can really double, even triple the amount of revenue just by improving the conversion rate on your website. We're not even talking about your close rate, your sales rate. Just how can you get people coming to your website to actually make that call instead of checking things out and then going back and looking at someone else's site. So, you can improve that conversion rate and improve that average transaction value as well. Both of those can start going up, and then your multiples and revenue growth can really start to look different. So we want to take your conversion rate from wherever it's at right now and maximize it. Get it to the point where it converts visitors from whatever source they're coming from and converts them at the very highest level possible, because this has a ripple effect and it has ramifications across all of the advertising you do across all platforms for your business. So I just want to show you a quick example here of an impact that we made in conversions without putting any paid search or any other marketing channels in place, just besides an SEO program. And this is a good case study for Classic Remodeling. They're a home remodeling and design build firm up in Seattle, Washington, part of NARI and also the NAHB. They're a great company. We've had the opportunity to work with them going on 3 or 4 years now. But when we first started working with them, they had a very basic website, probably typical of what most home remodeling websites look like. Some stock photos, a lot of technical jargon about their services, things like that. But then we updated their website, really brightened it up, really added some conversion elements in there, like calls to action, added real photos of the owners, Sadora and Ward Hampson, added these photos to really give them authenticity, to show that they're real people behind the website. Added real photos of their work, before and after photos, things like that. And they were averaging about 100 visitors a month when we started. And we rolled out the updated version of their website without driving more traffic through paid ads, doing anything else. Their website visits increased to almost 600 visitors per month. And their call volume increased from about 5 calls per month to around 55 calls per month. So really, really big differences. And again, this wasn't like anything magical that we were doing with SEO and press releases and content, things like that. I'm talking about just the very beginning, just kind of making tweaks in those conversion elements. And so that's what's possible here when we get our websites dialed in. When you make sure that you're built to convert, in other words, to improve your conversions, maximizing your incoming lead flow, improving your traffic sources by ranking better on Google, as well as maybe driving more paid traffic with a good website that's built to convert, it can really multiply results over time. So I just wanted to leave you with that example to kind of give you a sense of what's possible with your business when you start dialing in some of this stuff as well. So before we dive into nuts and bolts, and where we start looking at real world examples, just showing you some typical client example here. Averaging 23 leads a month. Just an average, say $22.50 a month in marketing investment, and your cost per lead's $88 per investment. So in other words, like, you look at that and go, would I pay $88 for a lead? If you close it 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4, that's $240, $320 to get a remodeling job. So obviously, this stuff works. We really want to show that, in the real world, this stuff, when you get it dialed in, will have an effect. So just help me out here, again, making this interactive. Someone let me know in the comments, why is conversion optimization important? Why do you think it's important for your business? What have you noticed? What changes have you guys made in your business that you can already see is helping with the conversions? So just looking at chat, we've got a couple comments rolling in. Make sure you guys are engaging here. Increasing business across service areas, expanding your service areas. Yep. Makes more money from your current traffic. Let's see. Getting a better return on investment. Yeah, obviously. Yep. Yeah, Joe, exactly. Colleen, thank you. I really appreciate that. Increasing your profits, right? Higher return on investment. Yeah. Again, so return on investment comes up twice. So definitely, think about these things when you're thinking about, okay, what's this going to do for my business? And hopefully it's going to make a big impact. So let's dive into the nuts and bolts on this. how to optimize your website. So this is the really where we want to start. Not talking about SEO, anything like that. I've seen a couple people raise their hands here, so I want to make sure that you guys are able to chat. So you guys should be able to post in chat there. I'm seeing some comments, but I see a couple raised hands too. So just want to make sure that you guys are able to get in here. So I put together, here's this workbook in case you logged in late. I want to give you guys this workbook again that you can download. In here, it lists the 12 critical elements for maximizing website conversions, as well as questions on, to ask yourself on whether your website is actually set up to convert at the highest level possible. So, make sure that you download this so you can have these notes, be able to implement this in your own website. You want to be able to come away from this and say, all right, I've got some good actionable steps that I can take advantage of here. So 12 critical elements. This number has grown over the years, but there are really 12 critical elements to conversion. And I'm going to talk through them kind of at a higher level here. And then we're going to look at some real examples of how this works in the real world. So first, I want to make sure that you're speaking to your customer, your target avatar. Most remodeling home improvement websites that I look at, they can be very technical sounding, but they can also be lacking in information on what it's like to work with you. In other words, what is your process? What are the steps that you go through in terms on your initial consultation, your design phase, different phases of construction? Everyone's got a different process. So, try to outline that so people kind of know what that process is going to feel like working with you. These people are going to have concerns and frustrations as well. They want to work with someone that respects their home, understands their vision, but they also want to make sure they don't get ripped off. They want to make sure that you're going to show up on time and that your communication with them is going to be solid throughout the entire project. We've seen this a lot with the supply chain issues where people are complaining or getting bad reviews because of supply chain issues. So that's not your fault. But maybe it's your fault that you're not communicating with your client enough. So if you know it's going to be 3 months, don't wait 3 months to let them know, hey, it's 3 months and we're still waiting. Let them know every 3 to 4 weeks, hey, just want to, send you an update. We're still at the same place, but at least they heard from you. You haven't gone silent on them and they're not wondering, okay, like what's going on? So you want to make sure communications is really, really up there. You want to get this messaging above the fold as well. The messaging at the bottom of your page, they don't get to that as much. So, those emotional triggers that are going to have a bigger impact on conversions, you want that message to be kind of, front and center of your website. And number 2 is to make sure that you're authentic. And by that, I mean to use real pictures of you, the owner, use real pictures of your team and kind of sprinkle those throughout your website and not just on like your about page. We found that people want to do business with real people they like and trust, right? They want to do business with that old saying, people they know, like, and trust. It just gives you more authenticity that you're real people behind the scenes and that you're gonna, really show up just like you appeared on their website. And we've split tested this across dozens and dozens of remodeling and home services websites that we've rolled out. And the ones that have real pictures, maybe not the fanciest, maybe not the prettiest pictures, but the real pictures of the owner and the team, those work best for displaying your authenticity. And I would say, go get professional photos done. Take you a few $100 and you can get a lot of professional photos. You can use those across all things, your print advertising, social media, your brochures, anything you do for a few $100 instead of taking some bad selfies and poor lighting, which, probably a couple chuckles out there, I bet as well, because I've seen those. Anyways, your conversions can be as much as 2 to 3 times better because people want to do business with real people. So, don't be corporate looking. Don't use stock imagery. make sure you're showcasing those before and after photos, especially the remodelers and builders out there. People want to see the quality of your work, and then, where possible, try to get some multimedia and video in there. They say that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and if that's the case, then a video is worth 1,000,000 words, because if you, the owner, can stand on camera and share more about the company and your passion for helping customers bring their visions to life, that's going to convert exponentially better than one of your competitors' websites with stock images and they say kind of the same thing that 100 other websites say. We're the best because we have the great customer service and blah blah blah. They all start sounding the same at that point. So, and also let them know you specialize in helping people in that particular area of remodeling that they're looking for, and some reasons why people choose to work with you. So let them know that you're always available to stay in touch with them, that you'll show up on time and keep the project on schedule, and then you'll make sure that their satisfaction is guaranteed. If they can see you and hear you, and if you're kind of interspersing that messaging throughout your website, it gives you a massive competitive advantage from a conversion perspective. So, if you want a website video welcome, maybe on your homepage, just kind of a video that welcomes people to the homepage, says who you are, what you guys specialize in, and maybe, why you got into the business, why you're so passionate about what you're doing. And then ideally, you want a video for each one of your service that speaks to each of those services and some of the distinctions. So, a video for your kitchen remodeling page, a video for your bathroom remodeling page. They're going to have different things that you can talk about there that speak to what your customers, the questions your customers are asking most often about those particular services. Now you can address those right there in the video. You've already got the one up on the competition when you do that. So, these videos are really going to help people choose you versus the competition if you're doing something like this and they're not. What's your unique selling proposition? That's another thing that you can really include in there. And if you can make that really clear on a video, why people choose you, and incorporate that into each of those videos and those different service type of service videos, you're going to give yourself a massive competitive advantage. Trust me, we've seen this over and over again. And we've seen it where people just will not do videos, and we look at the results and there is absolutely no doubt. We go, yeah, we know why. They're not doing videos, or they're not getting reviews. Like they're not really participating. So you can really notice those differences. Number 4 is you want to make sure you're leveraging social proof. Anybody can say, we're a great remodeling company or a great home builder. We're a great, this or that. We're awesome. Our pricing's great. We show up on time. We're going to get the job done right the first time. Of course, there's something to be said for saying all that about yourself. But naturally, when someone else says good things about your company, that gives perspective to new customers, that positive reinforcement that they needed in order to choose to work with you. The company with more customer testimonials, more great things being said about your company, about your employees, maybe specifically, that's going to be a reason why customers choose you. You want to make that front and center on your website, and where possible, you want to have those testimonials visible on every page of your website. So an idea here is always make sure you've got a testimonials tab on your menu tab. So home, about page, service pages. Make sure there's a testimonials tab there too. And then when we talk about having testimonials on every page, you can put that as like a banner that goes, across somewhere on your home page, down toward the bottom, even in your footer, and then you can replicate that on every page, so that every page they go to, they're going to still see those testimonials front and center. So you really want to bring that into your website. It's really going to have an impact on conversions. Most of you guys get this right, but I want to make sure that everyone's really showcasing those testimonials. It's the world we live in now, so kind of get used to it. There's nothing we can do about how social centric business has become, and how you really need to be out there on social media, on those sites, review sites, getting lots of reviews, especially Google, obviously. So there's also some very basic fundamental things that you can do on your website that really impact conversion rates that that get missed a lot of the time on remodeling and home service websites. One of them is having your phone number in the top right-hand corner, right there on every page where they can clearly see it. And this is where most people are used to looking for this. So, and we've proven this out with a marketing study. You know, a lot of times people peruse your website very briefly and then take a snap decision. Just go ahead and make that call. So you want to have that number readily available to them where it's easily found. And you also want to make sure that it's a click to call number so they can open it up right there in their browser or a phone dialer, especially with more people using mobile phones. They can go ahead and click that and it's automatically will start dialing for them. They don't have to, you know, try to punch in those numbers while they're, you know, on a train or, you know, doing something else, trying to multitask. More people are accessing the internet these days from mobile devices than they do desktop computers. So Google wants to have that easy to use click to call phone number in order to provide for that better user experience known as UX, which is something Google pays a lot of attention to. So make sure you have that phone number up there. I've looked at websites and you've got to scroll all the way down to the footer to find that phone number. And of course, it's not click to call. So think about it this way. If you want to put it in really simple terms, the more steps that you make a site visitor go through, whether it's scrolling down, clicking this link, click that, the more steps you make them go through to get to something that should be easily found, the more frustrated they're going to be, the less pleasing of a user experience they're going to have. And they're probably going to bounce off your page, go back into search results and find another website that might be a little more user-friendly, might be a little more dialed in for them. So just think about that. Make it easy on your site visitors. You also want to have a web form that people can fill out. You know, not everyone's in a place where they can make that call. So, you know, sometimes they're at their office or they just want to start the process and request that consultation. Just open that conversation through written without really taking up their time on the phone. Everyone's busy nowadays, so just get used to that. So you want to make sure it's easy for them to, you know, to fill that information out and request that someone get back out to them. Also leveraging credibility, displaying logos on your site. If you're a member of the BBB, if you're a member of, you know, one of your industry associations, these are usually symbols that they recognize, and it will give you instant credibility. Another thing, always make sure that you have an instant call to action. Make sure that there's a clear call to action on every page. At each one of your pages, you want to make sure that you're asking them to do something, to call you, to fill out that form, to book that free consultation, to inquire about special financing, things like that. You want to guide them on what to do next. People came to your website, they're ready to take action. Now you need to walk them through the steps of how to get to your photo gallery, how to, you know, contact you now if they see, you know, some designs of your work. Always, what is that next step for them to take? And then this is an easy one. I think everyone is probably dialed in on this, but I still see a lot of websites that aren't in this day and age, which is kind of crazy. But make sure your website's mobile optimized with that click to call functionality. As I said above, we're finding like 60 to 70% of your visitors are getting to your website from mobile devices. This is more than ever before. And the experience that they have on a mobile phone is different than the experience that they have on a desktop. So you want to make sure that the website fits nicely on the mobile phone when they browse it, that it's not just your desktop website shrunk down into like 2-point font that they can't even read, even with eyeglasses on. You know, make sure the mobile version looks really good. Run through all your pages and make sure that every page looks good on mobile, all the links work, the buttons work, all that. And then, you know, along with number 8 here, you know, mobile optimization, you know, having a massive impact on your conversions. It's really going to determine how great or how poorly your website converts. So this is really important. Don't overlook this one. And then next is making sure you're leveraging live chat. This is starting to become a shift that we're seeing more and more in all types of home service companies. As people have become more mobile adaptive, if you will, they're walking around with their cell phones everywhere they go. They do everything on their cell phone. So most people would much rather engage in a chat or text message than a phone conversation just to get things started. I know you're thinking, this person wants to build a custom home or do a $200,000 renovation. They want to chat. They don't want to talk about how it's done in chat. They want to get the ball rolling in chat. Just like, what are the next steps? When can we set up a time to call? When can I book that consultation? What's your process look like? It gets them started through some of that preliminary stuff. So this is something to really think about. Again, it's how can you one up your competition? If many of your competitors are doing it, but you do it, does that make you an outlier? Like you shouldn't be doing it? No, it makes you the tip of the spear. You're out in front of everyone, leading the charge on where digital marketing is really heading. And these are trends that are happening in real time as we speak. So I want to hear from you all in the comments. Hopefully you guys that raise your hands are able to comment. Let me know how many of you would prefer, to be able to engage in chat, a text message or something, just to kind of get that ball rolling before you actually phone someone. This is when you make your own appointments, because I do this myself. I don't want to sit and make a bunch of phone calls. I'm on the phone as it is enough every day. I would really like to just kind of send some text messages out and get the thing rolling that way. So let me know in chat what you guys think about chat messaging for your website. Anyone using that now? Anyone really seeing anything positive coming from that? So I see, yep. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. Yeah, chat works well. If you haven't used it, if you're not ready to adopt, just open your mind to it, because digital marketing moves at lightning speed. Google makes changes to their algorithm pretty much every day. It might be a small tweak. The big, massive changes roll out about twice a year, but every day they're always tweaking something. So, yeah, okay. I like that, Aaron. Hard to answer all those phone calls, a lot of telemarketers, a lot of junk coming in. So trying to get them to fill out those web forms. I'm going to talk about web forms later. So Aaron, pay attention to that. This is where a lot of money gets left on the table if you're not following up in your web form. So I'm glad you pointed that out. Okay, good news, Carol, getting your chat going. So great. Love to see you guys engaging. Love to see you guys moving forward with this. Making sure you're on the cutting edge. Let's don't get left behind. Stay out in front of your competitors instead of chasing them. So I'm glad to see you guys are using that two-way messaging. Technology, it's ever changing, and wherever you can serve your customer, wherever you can get them to book and get a call and to get them moving forward, that's what you want to be doing. So it's probably not as prevalent like on some of our HVAC customers we have some of those plumbers, like that chat just goes off the hook, and that's where you kind of really need someone live managing that. And you can hook up those chats to send text messages to. You can integrate it through Facebook Messenger and reply that way. That's what we do. So it pops up in your phone immediately. So those are some things to look at, but it is going to give you that competitive advantage. And there's easy ways to embed, some of those chat capabilities and that code into your website. Let me know if you guys need any help with that, and I can give you some guidance there. Next thing, very, very, very important, is site speed. Site speed matters as it relates to conversion. It also matters for SEO and a lot of other things too, not just that customer user experience. But if your website is slow as dictated by Google Page Speed Insights and another tool that we use, GTmetrix, there's a lot of tools out there. Check those out. Go to Google Page Speed Insights, punch in your website, and you'll see where you're at on mobile, where you're at on desktop, and you'll find if you've got problems really, really quick. And we usually see that with a lot of folks that we talk to. But this will make a massive impact on your conversion rates and the leads you get. So make sure that your website's optimized and it's loading extremely quickly. We saw a study that if your website load went from 1 second, you're loading within 1 second, to 6 seconds. So 6 seconds is still pretty quick. But if you went from 1 second to 6 seconds, your bounce rate increased by 106%. So your bounce rate is when people leave your website and go back into search results. You took 5 extra seconds and you just lost 100% of people coming to your site. So it can be really, really important for you. Selena, yes, we will be sending out a replay. So, and then number 12, it's really, kind of relatively new is engaging in that marketing automation, just making sure that you're adopting that, and looking into how you guys can adopt this automation into your company. And by that, I mean automation, marketing automation. It's like the eighth wonder of the world. Instead of making sure you're right on top of the web form that came in, a web inquiry, or making sure that text that you didn't get it, you were in a meeting, automation can handle all of that for you. It can reply to them with some templated answers. They can send off emails, and then you can follow up with the phone call and the direct human interaction. So marketing automation works extremely well. We have a pretty robust CRM that we use, and some of our client partners use as well. So making sure, whether that phone call goes out, text message, some kind of a prompted reminder coming to you, all these logical triggers that happen, if then this, that, if then this, that, the coding that I started on, if then statements back in the 80s, which is pretty much the only coding they had as they were building the first computers. But, we're finding that clients who are really leveraging this marketing automation, they're getting 2 to 3 times higher conversion rates from the leads that they're generating, because all that automation, it's instantaneous. You don't ever have to say, oh, I didn't get to them in time or whatever, because people want to be followed up with in 5 minutes, because we know that if you don't answer your phone, they're calling someone else. I can guarantee you 100% they are not waiting on your voicemail. They might talk to you if you can get a hold of them, but they're not waiting for you. They're going to call someone else if you're not answering your phone. So even a lead answering service, some kind of an answering service that you can put in place for less than $100, which is what we do and a lot of our client partners do. So anyways, these are the 12 critical elements. I spent a lot of time on them, but this is the meat of what you guys should be doing and thinking about. What ways can you improve your website with each of these elements? If you got any questions on these, be sure to reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions anytime, any way I can help guide our industry to becoming better, helping our industry be more successful. I'm all in on that. So just let me know if you got any questions you need some help on. So, my challenge to you is really take a hard look at your own website and determine what one thing can have the biggest impact on improving your conversions. What will you commit to optimizing and adding to your website? Maybe it's a few things, and I hope it is. We've talked about a lot here, so that would be even better. But even 1 or 2 little tweaks to your website could make a big difference in bumping your conversions from 20% to maybe 25 or 30%. That could be another job or 2 each month, or maybe a job or 2 in a year might be enough for some of you guys out there. So, all the things we talked about, the things that are listed in your workbook, multimedia, getting on video, not as bad as you think you are. You got to start somewhere. Getting that phone number up in the top right-hand corner, better messaging that really speaks to why somebody should work with you versus a competition. Messaging is really important. We're going to talk about that in our SEO webinar next month. Maximizing your page load speed. Again, site speed matters. That Google tool, that's part of their algorithm. That is their algorithm right there. It's part of it anyways. Hundreds of things that go into that algorithm. But if your site has a failing grade on Google Page Speed Insights, well, that's where you need to start. You need to get your website up to snuff, so it's not loading in 22 seconds or 30 seconds or something. Your customer's long gone by then. They're already on someone else's website that just loaded in 3 seconds. So, what are the things that you can implement and improve on your website? That's really the big question here. You really want to look at all these critical elements. Don't sleep on these conversion elements, because they really will make a difference. So take a hard look at these, see what you can implement, and then make sure you're tracking results too. Look in your Google Search Console and start tracking. Are people spending more time on your site? Are they visiting more pages? Are you getting more calls? Are you getting more web inquiries? Things like that. And someone mentioned in chat earlier about, all the phone calls, they can't afford to answer all those calls. I'm telling you, you're going to be leaving money on the table by not answering your phone. Like, get an answering service to take those calls, if anything, because those some of those calls are true customers. They are. People have the average attention span for human beings. If you guys have heard this before from me, probably 7 to 8 seconds, about the same as a goldfish. So if you don't answer the phone, they're out the door, they're moving on. So really think about that. We see that all the time. We've even done studies where we drive Google ads to a landing page. These have to be real customers. Telemarketers they're not clicking on ads. They're not doing searches. They just got a big phone list they call from. And driving real customers and people not picking up the phone. It's like, man, you're paying money for these ads. You're paying money for us to manage these ads, and you're still not picking up your phone. So this can be a real critical element that you can employ and really increase some conversions there as well. So here, just to show you, an example of this. This is a client partner of ours. Where you can see their website sessions immediately shot up after we optimized their website. I mean, this is a pretty obvious increase right here from 1 month to the next, just boom. And then the rest of it stayed pretty consistently as it kept moving its way upward. So, that's the amount of calls they're getting too. These aren't website visits. This is website visits. But what I mean is, the increase in calls from this is the same kind of exponential metric. It's really, driving more and more calls, more and more web form submissions, and then ultimately, they're being able to convert about 80% of those calls in this particular case. So, big win here for this client. And then when you just kind of look, year over year here, just from where they started here to where they're at. Just half a year later, just almost 10x increase, something like that. So it's really driving more opportunities. Just gives them that chance to book more consultations, which gives them a chance to book more jobs and really grow their business just by improving conversions here. And this is all just conversions here as well. So one of the things you might be wondering is, okay, how do I get my website to convert like that? How can you drive more high quality visitors to your own website and get them into booked appointments, right? That's the $1 million question. And so in this blueprint here, this is part of also in your workbook that you downloaded. Want to make sure you have this. This is really a guide for you. And we've talked about this. This guide, really helps you in getting found, ways that you can better engage with your site visitors, and then how to convert those site visitors into booked appointments. So make sure you're looking through all these elements and thinking, am I checking every box here? Because that's how we attack Google's algorithm, is we check every box. That way we don't have to wonder, why is a website not ranking? Why is it lagging? Why are we not getting the results that we typically always get? We check every box. We don't have to worry about that. So when you look at a conversion element worksheet like this, go through it all, try to do few things at a time. But in the end, make sure that you're doing everything that you can and not thinking, okay, 1 or 2 things. Okay, that's going to improve for sure, but keep making improvements, keep doing more and more. That way you continually keep improving. So next thing I want to talk about is making sure that your message is focused on the right market. What I like to call the message to market match. If you can see your customer through their eyes and know what they're looking for, then you can craft your message around that in order to increase conversions. So what we're talking about here is understanding your ideal customer avatar. It's crucial that you understand your customer and what is driving their buying psychology. This includes what their pains and frustrations might be when it comes to working with contractors, as well as their goals and desires and what they want that contractor relationship to look like. Not just, the outcomes, but they're in a relationship with you. They're going to be in your house for a month, maybe a few months. We have client partners of ours all the time that say, oh yeah, I go out to lunch with past clients. We engage on social media. So these are people that they're probably going to become friends with you. Not everybody. But, really understanding who they are and understanding what they want from that relationship is going to be really helpful for you. And so, who is your ideal customer? Obviously, they're probably a homeowner, usually 35 years or older, and now into the world of home ownership. That customer can be either male or female, but we typically see that it's the female, the household, that drives a lot of these decisions when it comes to remodel. Frankly, this is where dad knows best and lets the process just play out. And then there are other factors that come into play, like income threshold. They usually have kids that may involve home additions or maybe basement renovations. But you also need to think about their pains and frustrations. Maybe they've had a bad experience with a remodeling contractor in the past, or maybe they can't even get a contractor on the phone due to companies being too busy and not answering their phone, or simply just not having good follow-up processes in place, like I just talked about earlier, which is really pretty common. Unfortunately, it's really common. No one on this call I know, but there's a lot of follow-up sequences, nurture sequences, processes out there that can be improved for a lot of folks that can tell you that. But also, your customer avatar, possibly they're worried about what they're envisioning is not really possible within the confines of their current home's layout. So they're going to, want to kind of, work through that with you, get your ideas, your experience on things like that. Other things that are probably going through their mind are the fear of being ripped off and overcharged, or maybe it's the inconvenience and interruption of their lifestyle while major home renovation is taking place. On the other side of the coin, what is really driving their decision to move forward with that home renovation? Is it because their home is finally ready for an upgrade, or do they just need more room? Maybe they're looking to increase their home's value ahead of an impending, sale that they're getting ready to, put on the market. What is it about their proposed renovation that will give them peace of mind? What emotional trust triggers can you hit on that gets them going, oh, yeah, gets them shaking their head. Now they're buying in. Now you're going down the right road with them. So these are things that can really hit some emotional hot buttons. Understanding what is exactly driving their decision to remodel is key for you to understand and be able to base your message and dialogue around that. So it's then critical that you're crafting your messaging around those factors. You want to be able to promise them, ease of scheduling, getting the job done quickly and on time. Conveying straightforward pricing is important as well. No hidden pricing, things that are going to pop up later, or at least be transparent about that. Change orders, how those work. I used to do a lot of change orders, hated them, but they're part and parcel for the course when we're doing major home renovations, and especially the custom home builds that we were doing. And they just want to, be assured that their price isn't going to double by the time the project is done. So, of course, they want to know that you're reputable. In other words, you're licensed, you're insured, you'll pull the necessary permits within the city, and that you have a great reputation within the community and all the other clients that you've worked with, and you've got the testimonials out there to prove that. The other critical conversion element is being real and authentic. We talked about this with real photos. When it comes to being genuine and standing out against most of your competitors, a key element is showing who you are and having pictures on your website of you, the owner, as well as your other staff members and craftsmen and tradesmen. This really lets the customer get to know who you are, and that they're not just looking at another website that says you're great at what you do and you offer great customer service and all the usual stuff. These things are all important. Don't get me wrong. I don't mean to downplay them, but of course, you want your website to really stand out from all the others out there that aren't putting, these other competitors that aren't putting themselves out there like that. No pictures, maybe stock photos of the typical receptionist on the phone, like we've all seen enough of that. So really, think about that, and in pictures, especially video as well. Speaking of putting yourself out there, speaking of video, there's no better way to do that than letting customers get to know you through videos. seeing the company owner in a video on the website is no better way for them to get to know you, know your passion for helping them create the home of their dreams. We always encourage you to have that homepage video that welcomes site visitors, to your website, but having a video on the other pages for each of your services, that's also very helpful. Also, an added benefit is that video converts at 8 times the rate of just having lots of text and more text on your website. We all know that people like to watch videos way more than reading hundreds of words of text. It's the reason why you hear about cat videos going viral. Leo here, he did a bunch of videos. He wants to redo them, so I think we've got a couple of his videos down now. He's your own worst critic, right? So if you folks will start doing videos, and I highly encourage it, don't be your own worst critic. Just go with it and realize that you'll get better the more you do. And you probably look a heck of a lot better on video than you really think. So don't overthink that part of it, like Leo is. To state the obvious, your company's reputation matters. I think we all know by now how important it is to have a great online reputation with plenty of reviews from lots of happy clients to show how committed you are to doing a great job and offering great customer service. One thing that you also want to focus on is getting reviews on as many different review sites as possible around the internet. Reviews left on your Google business profile page are the most important. But in order to achieve the best review rating in terms of Google's algorithm, Google wants to see that you have reviews on other platforms as well, such as Facebook, Yelp, yellowpages.com, Howls, the lead gen sites that you can have reviews on, and lots of other review sites. So the more reviews you have, the better. The more reviews you have on different websites, even more better. Social proof these days plays a critical role in establishing yourself as a market leader. And that's really what we're talking about here. Try to be a market leader, at least, in some of the ways that you can grow. You don't have to be the biggest company. That's not what a market leader means. A market leader can do a lot of other things besides being a $50 million company. So, obviously no one wants to do business with a company that has a bad online reputation. So you definitely want to avoid that by offering the best customer service possible, doing the best work possible, and making sure that satisfaction is guaranteed. One thing that you also need to make sure is that you're showcasing your reviews on your website via that testimonial page I talked about earlier. Don't just write a bunch of text, put some quotes around it, and add a name, maybe a last initial or something, and call that as a real review. It might be a real review for you, but it's not for your site visitors, because everyone knows you can just make up whatever you want, add some quotes and say Dave M, and that's it. Like, who's Dave M? Like, I can't find Dave M's review on Google, on Facebook, anywhere. So start to become a little dubious then on whether you're really who you say you are. If your review doesn't show up anywhere, then what else might they start doubting about your company? There's just no way to to verify reviews that are written in quotes on your website. And so the way we do it for our client partner is to import those reviews from the various review sites via software that we built, and it shows the icon from the review site it comes from. So the little Google G or the Facebook F or whatever that icon is, it shows that's where that review came from, and then they can click on that and go right to that review and go like, yeah, those are real reviews. Okay, cool. Now I know I can work with this company. So you definitely want to make sure you're getting real, authentic reviews written by real people and getting them on the platforms that matter. Authenticity matters here, folks, especially when it comes to reviews and social proof. I think most people know this by now, but having a mobile-friendly website is crucial these days. Your website needs to be mobile-friendly, meaning it's optimized for mobile search, and it needs to be mobile responsive as well, which means that your website needs to render properly no matter what device is being used to access your website. Google's ranking algorithm nowadays puts a very, very high premium on the mobile optimized websites because it's a known fact that more people are accessing the internet via mobile nowadays versus desktop. And I think that number is about 60% and growing. So, I told you to go to Google Page Speed Insights. There's also another tool called Google Mobile Friendly Tool. Just put that in Google. It'll take you right to its own tool. Again, it's a tool that's used by its own algorithm. And then you can put your website in there and see what problems you might have. It might show your website rendering properly, but it also might have a list of maybe 3 or 4 other things that are, some functionality that might be broken, some things that aren't loading or rendering properly. So use both of those Google tools to your advantage. They're free tools, and they will show you some problems that you have, and that you can address those then. So if your website is not mobile optimized, if you have a website page loading speed, any kind of issues like that, consumers are simply going to go back and search results and find a better website to check out. I'm sure several of you on this training workshop today have done the same thing. When you visit a website, it's a desktop website squeezed down to a mobile phone to where you can't even read anything. With that average attention span, about 8 seconds for people, you're not capturing your attention with that kind of performance. So don't throw away these opportunities that you can have to really, really move your business forward. Another key component is having that click-to-call phone number up in the right-hand corner on your website. Again, with more people accessing the internet from mobile these days, Google wants to give users that great user experience, the best experience possible. It's called UX. It's a big factor in Google's ranking algorithm, because when people go to your website, bounce right back into search, that's Google saying they didn't have a good user experience. And what is it? What is it that they found that wasn't a good user experience? They couldn't find your phone number, your website's not mobile optimized, things like that. So, just doing simple things like getting your phone number, click to call fashion in the right place can really start making little differences, little tweaks. It's that whole adage about improve 1% every day. By the end of the year, look how good you'll be. One conversion element that we talked about is growing in popularity is the live chat. I know that you guys are definitely in tune with that from the chat that I've seen. Jennifer, I'm going to address your page speed as well. More and more people, or I hope I did anyways, more and more people are choosing to chat, via the text message and Facebook Messenger. So like I said, you can incorporate Facebook Messenger through your website chat. And just, call it a conversation starter. Yes, as a remodeling company, you want to engage with prospective customers and vet them and talk to them, see if they're their ideal customer. But that they're not, looking for a bargain, a $5,000 basement remodel that won't even cover the cost of materials, things like that. But your website messaging, will cover a lot of that, but you can get some of that out there in chat too. So you can eliminate people without, having to waste time on that phone call, have them ask you a bunch of questions, and you find out that they're the ones with the $5,000 bathroom remodel idea. So again, with chat, get ahead of 95% of your competition and use some kind of a chat bot, a Facebook Messenger integration on your website. Our CRM has that capability. Like I said, that's what we use. So a couple of our clients use the same thing that we're using as well, since they're using our CRM, and then others that are using our CRM, like they might be using their own chat. So definitely think about how you can incorporate that on your website, how you'll manage it, where those chat messages are going to go to, who's monitoring those. Are they going to be monitored 24/7? They're going to just be monitored during daylight hours. If a lot of that starts to be like, we just can't do that, maybe chat's not the step for you right now, but don't forget it. Don't sleep on it, because you're going to have to come back to that sooner or later as we get more and more digital, as life moves on here for us. So we kind of went over all these 12 critical elements for optimizing conversions on your website, all the different ones. The authenticity really matters. Having web forms, those are super important as well, but you got to make sure you're following up on those. I'm going to address that here in just a second as well. So maybe everything on this list is not exactly the perfect fit for your business model. So, the whole idea is to figure out what really works, for your business model. What will you implement? So my challenge to you is to revisit these key ideas and then decide, what have you already implemented on your website, and which conversion elements will you need to add? Pick 3 of these elements and say, I'm going to get these 3 done in the next 30 days. And man, I'd love it if you would email me back or text or anything and just say, hey, Bob, 3 days later, I got these things done. I'd love to hear that. Or if you're on our workshop on SEO next month, you can let me know there as well. But what I want you to do is really take something away from this session. Really make sure that you're implementing this stuff and putting it into action, because if you don't, none of this is going to work for you. You got to actually put this, you got to make these changes and in order to see change in your life. So you make some of these changes, your conversion rates will go up. And then the thing that I want to talk about is what I really think is the biggest marketing issue facing remodelers, builders, and home service contractors, and that is unconverted leads. We talked earlier, you guys are spending a lot of money on advertising. Sometimes you think you might even need to spend more because you're not getting enough business. But so maybe you're thinking you need to increase your PPC budget or Google ads, Facebook ads. Maybe you want to spend more, on buying leads from House or Home Advisor or, those kind of lead gen platforms. But the reality is most of your leads are going unconverted. And what I'm seeing across the industry in home services is that about 50 to 60% of inbound leads go unconverted. People are calling in or texting in that they need a contractor. They're looking for a really good remodeler. But maybe you guys are busy or you just don't get to the call right away, or there's no follow-up process in place. You don't have that marketing automation I talked about. You just don't have all that dialed in. And it's a lot to get dialed in. So don't be too hard on yourself if you're not there yet. Just think about getting there. But what's amazing to realize is, around 90% of web forms don't convert at all. It's often said that web forms are where customers enter their name and email address. It's where leads go to die because people aren't following up. They're just not staying in tune on those leads. They don't have a process in place to continually stay involved with them. So, if they filled out a form, they might be interested in exploring possibilities, but you guys don't have the time or attention to follow up with all those people. You haven't been able to get them on the phone. And in other words, these leads are slipping through the cracks, and that happens. And so, here's where the reality is: leads, inquiries, people looking for these services. If you're not following up with them within 15 minutes or less, and I say 5 minutes really, these leads will go cold. If they don't have someone calling them almost immediately after they inquire on your website, or have someone follow up with them immediately after they've left that voicemail, they're going to move on to the next company on Google. They'll call somebody else, and the company that gets the first chance to make a first impression is the one that picks up that phone. And so maybe they might schedule with another person. Maybe they'll decide to circle back to you later. But inevitably, that doesn't happen in very many cases. I just talked to someone last night. Hey, I've called this person. They're not calling me back. And that's nature of the game. I guarantee they found someone already. That's just how it works. Remodeling, they may give you a little more leeway there because they want to really get some different design perspectives, some different outlooks on what their project can look like. But some of the more simple stuff, they may not really give you that second chance. So, the average customer needs to be followed up with 5 to 7 times before booking a job. You guys probably know that. You've probably seen that in reality. After they book a form or call, they need to be followed up with. So you guys make sure that you have systems in place to follow up with these people as quickly as possible, and also that you have multiple follow-ups. Not, hey, I had a system in place. I called them 5 minutes later, and then I didn't do anything else ever again. Like, it's going to take more than once. It's kind of like when you think about dating. Let's go back to high school or junior high even. Did you ask that girl or boy out on the first date and they just said, yes, I'm in love, let's get married? Probably not. Probably took, you got to break away, break down some of those obstacles, chisel away at it, especially, if you're really shy. You're going to have to, put in a few more attempts. So same thing here. Just make sure you've got multiple attempts scheduled in that. follow-up process. So when you have this kind of follow-up in place, it's going to make a difference. So, what we're talking about here is leveraging that marketing automation, leveraging SMS text messages, leveraging Facebook Messenger. You're leaving a lot of opportunities on the table if you're not doing some of this stuff. And again, this is all can be built into automation. You can have text go out automatically at a set interval. You could have emails doing that. You could send reminders to yourself. Now's the time for that phone call. You can have all this set up with marketing automation. This can go on for months and months and months, so that even 6 months later, you get a reminder that says, hey, call so-and-so, and you can look at your notes and see that they haven't replied in months, but maybe they just kind of got away from that project. So all that automation can really, really make a difference in your follow-up and getting those 5 to 7 touches in, so that you can get that book job, because you know that you're going to have to put in more than one touch on most cases here. So essentially, you build that into your web form. So, once it's submitted, it triggers off a notification, maybe triggers off some emails and texts for you. And now these people they're into your CRM as well. So that web form automatically put that new prospective customer into your CRM. So now they're in there, and you can do all this automation, run all these follow-up campaigns on them, the task reminders that you'll need for your calls. So, if you're not using sales automation with your CRM, if you're still stuck in the Stone Ages, tracking leads in spreadsheets, this might be something that you think about kind of working on. We all move forward at a different pace, so there's nothing wrong with using spreadsheets. I, in fact, love spreadsheets, but when it comes to automation for sales, we're well beyond spreadsheets for sales, CRM, and follow-up automation. So just something to think about there. But you can take 1 out of 2 conversion rate and get that up to a 9 out of 10 conversion rate by having some of that automation in place, and then adding in some of those drip campaigns on the back end of your CRM, so that people now they're just in your ecosystem. They're getting an email every now and then. Hey, you still thinking about remodeling? You still thinking about that project? Or maybe they're getting one of your monthly emails that just talk about your latest project or latest initiative or latest, company news that you're sharing in your monthly newsletter or your quarterly newsletter, whatever. Anything's better than nothing, right? So, just think about how you can put all of this into your business and make it functional, and watch and see how your business moves forward in terms of the number of calls you're able to follow up on, number of people you're able to consult with, in other words. And then, of course, what kind of a difference that's going to make for your website conversions, turning into actual book jobs and then growing your revenue. So, here's numbers again. Let's just run the math. Let's say, you generate 100 leads, whatever sources, SEO, pay-per-click, social media, lead generation platforms, wherever, you're at, let's say a 30% conversion rate on these leads, because there's no automation. It's just a person calling in, they schedule the call or they don't. And about 30% of them do. The other 70% basically just become lost leads. So out of 100 leads, let's say you can book 30 jobs at an average ticket of just say, $30,000 here, which is, like I said, probably a low estimate for most of you, but using that conservative number, that's going to be $900K in revenue. That's not a conservative number. I think a lot of us would like to have an extra $900K in revenue. But now, how can we improve it? Just by improving on automation and follow-up. How can we make sure that every lead that comes in gets that immediate callback, gets an immediate text message follow-up? They get put into an email drip sequence that drips out over time. Most people making these big home remodeling decisions, they're probably not going to make that decision in one call. And the other thing that you can put in place is every call that comes in, but maybe they're a little indecisive. Maybe the husband and wife need to talk things over, things like that. But ultimately, they end up not scheduling that consultation, end up hanging up. These are the folks that you can add into this automation so that you make sure that they're getting followed up with, and that you don't have to think about that, writing Post-it notes all over the place or so. So, and then what happens if we increase those conversion rates, right? So let's say we increase our conversion rates from 30 to 70% with this type of marketing automation and follow-up. And so now for those same 100 leads that you got in, instead of generating just 30 book jobs, 30 book jobs is not just 30, like that's a good number, but now you can generate 70 book jobs, which now puts your revenue over $2 million. So that's a big difference. You're talking about 2.5xing your income just by increasing conversions. Again, we're not talking about sales here, because you may convert at 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5, 1 out of 2 even. And maybe that's always going to be your sales conversion rate. We're talking about just how do we get more conversions into a consultation, just people that you get to talk to again. So that's a big difference when you can increase conversion elements and increase your conversion rates and then end up with a 2.5x income. That's going to really make a big difference. So that just, really what it does, it just makes every lead more valuable to you. It's going to grow your income. So really, get this stuff implemented in your business and really see what difference a few of these things can make. And you can do a few things at a time. In marketing, we call it split testing. You really only want to change one thing at a time and see, but that's really like for testing ads. Don't change the ad title and the ad copy and the call to action. Don't change them all at the same time, because then you're not going to know what works. You change one thing at a time, test, and retest some more, change some more things, retest, change some more things, retest. This is one of those things where you can, kind of incorporate a few more of these things into your website all at once, because we really don't want to test too much. We know this stuff works. Trust me, it works, folks. We want to get you moving in the right direction, get your conversion rates going up. So the more you can put into your website, the more elements that you can choose from here, the more better it is going to be for your conversion rates. And obviously, in the end, you're going to grow your sales volume, the number of consultations you go on, things like that. So anyone want to chime in here and let me know what conversion elements that they plan on working on in the next 30 days or so? We've covered a lot of ground here, the 12 critical elements, and really kind of going into a deep dive on those. Anyone want to chime in and see, let me know that, yep, authentic pictures, I see that. Excellent. Moving your phone number. Yeah, definitely some of the obvious things. So make sure that you're going to pick some of these things to really tune in on. If you need any help with this, let me know. Like I said, you can reach out via email. You can book a call with me, and we can just kind of talk about what you're missing. You call me, I'm not going to try to sell you something, but I will help guide you on what can really help you improve the optimization on your website. If you guys need any help, like I said, ask me for some advice. If you really want to ramp things up, then obviously we can do that too. But I'm here to help and really point out anything I can in terms of insights to really help folks move their business forward. So I really hope that this was helpful for everyone. I really appreciate everyone sticking around. Most people have stuck around to the end, so thank you very much for that. I appreciate you guys taking an interest in the education that we're putting out there. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys again in the future. Reach out to me if you have any questions. Otherwise, I hope I'll see you guys next month on our webinar, a workshop that will go over SEO, one of the biggies. So looking forward to that next month. You guys all have a great rest of your Thursday, a great weekend, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys next month. All right, take care, everyone.